here we are at Most Haunted Extra. We've just arrived at Mary King's Close in Edinburgh. I've always loved Edinburgh, fantastic city, so I'm always happy to come back here. This place is fantastic, it really is. It's got so much history, and we've been desperate to come here and do an investigation for well, since we started Most Haunted. It is awesome. It's so big. There's so many rooms, so many old inhabited places.
When you go down and just see this street, underground street, and with houses where people used to live and where people died, it's just amazing. First feelings when it went down, it does feel scary. I'm really looking forward to doing some vigils later on. I know that we're going to be really spooked out.
I've been here now an hour. I've just been setting up because there's been a bit of a rush of this. So we've set up, everyone's on the go now, doing the pieces to camera and whatnot, so we're okay with that. But looking around this place, it's very, very good, very, very interesting indeed.
Tell us, how do you feel about tonight and Mary King's Close? And
I feel very, very nervous, I've got to admit. It's bigger than I thought it was. It's like a rabbit warren, and you've got at the moment little flickering lights that are on the walls to sort of resemble candles, but when they go out, if they go out, I can presume they are going to, it's going to be totally hellish down there for me, pitch black. You know my problem with the dark. So that's why I'm nervous already.
What about you, Kath?
I'm a little bit scared. I am a lot scared actually. Today when we was walking round doing the filming, I don't know if it was because of the lack of oxygen, but I really did feel sick kind of feeling, and it was awful. It's dark and it's going to be very scary later.
What can I say? I love these places. I'd rather be in a place like this than an old country mansion, as much as I love those places too. But these sort of places always make you feel like you're in somewhere a little bit more unusual, a bit more privileged. It's sort of a place that has been here for what seems like ever. But you also feel like it's a bit unknown. The average guy in the street doesn't know about these sort of places.
The place in itself is phenomenal. You can't even imagine it in your wildest dreams. It's like a small town under the ground. Originally, it wouldn't have been under the ground. It would have had an open top. But they, as I understand, they took the top parts of the buildings off and built the town hall, which is exactly where we are now, where our base is, over the top of them, and used these buildings underneath us as their foundations.
Tell me, how do you feel about this place?
How do I feel about it? I feel that it's oozing with spirits, absolutely oozing with them. They're all over the place. There's hundreds and hundreds of people have died here on this spot, and I love it.
I have never been into anywhere quite so full of atmosphere, full of historic detail, and somewhere that seems so isolated, so cut off.
It's a lot bigger than I thought, and it's like a sprawling mini metropolis, if you like. I can see it being very easy to get lost, especially when the lights go out later on, when we do the vigils and people will start to wander around.
It's a fascinating place, and I can't see myself going on just by myself with a camera. I can't see that happening, not tonight. This isn't the kind of place. This kind of place makes me feel very uncomfortable.
I feel fine at the moment with what's going on. It's when the lights turn up, when we turn the lights out later on, I think things are going to start changing then.
I'm so happy that I'm back upstairs where it's brighter and the rest of the guys are sat here, and I feel so much safer sat upstairs than I do going back downstairs. Now, if I had to go down and do a vigil again, I think definitely I'd go with a few more of us. I mean, my overall impression of this place is shit, it's scary.
It's only, I think, just 12 o'clock in the afternoon on the first day, and it's really dark, and all of us have had headaches at a certain point. Some of us have felt sick. Not nice, is it?
I'm here. It's weird.
Oh.
What?
No, it's just this.
I early, as soon as we came in earlier when we first came in, I was setting up the lights for one of Yvette's walk-around pieces. I walked through one of the tunnel parts, and I thought Stuart had followed me because there was some really heavy footsteps, and I was chatting to him about how I was doing the lighting. And then I held the door open at the end, and he wasn't there, and I came running back, and there was no one here. Stuart was actually upstairs, so there was definitely someone behind me. So I can't wait for tonight. I think it's going to be a good one tonight.
And we're down here now. It's only 12 o'clock. This is what gets me. I'm just being logical. Everything's fine. Okay, you've had that one experience, but nothing else strange has happened to anybody. Okay, we've had a few headaches, felt a bit sick, and I think everybody's going to get terrified because it'll get to 1 o'clock in the morning. It's pitch black. We're not terrified now.
At the end of the day, you can rationalise anything because we're all around. We're all excited. None of us are tired, and I think a lot of the paranormal activity that happens, certainly that we experience, is down to tiredness. It's down to the fact that we, at 3 o'clock in the morning, you're more susceptible to hearing things because you're tired and you're not as rational as we are now. We have had headaches down here, but then again, we're underground. It's quite depressing down here, especially thinking what's gone on in the past. So I think we've got to expect that. But you're right, tonight it will be different. We'll all be scared. We'll all be running around probably, seeing things that maybe aren't there.
We've got Derek Cora as Per, and we've also got Derek Ogilvie, who I'm a medium who I've not actually ever seen or worked with before, so it should be very, very interesting to see what he comes up with.
I heard Hugh. Now, I'm not too convinced that's his name though, because it could have been you rather than Hugh.
Okay, I just met Derek Ogilvie earlier, who I've worked with before, and we've just done a vigil. There was Derek, Yvette, and myself, and the main room that we were looking at was the plague room. Going to see what Derek could give us information-wise on the spirits that are supposedly haunting that place. It was quite interesting, and I was a bit concerned. I always get a bit concerned when a medium seems to be experiencing things that maybe he's not expecting to experience, and that certainly happened in Derek's case when he ran out of the room. So I followed him with the camera as best as I could, and at one point he actually fainted and he actually collapsed to the floor.
What's up?
That was really strong.
It's really, really powerful down there. In fact, it's the first time I've had the experience I've just had.
He got very, very emotional and very upset about certain things. Came up with an awful lot of detail about certain spirits, and I was quite sort of shocked when he fainted.
This spirit either got too close to him or actually tried to enter his body. And this spirit's name was, according to Derek, it was called Willie. Now, obviously, there are going to be that many people that lived in the close over the hundreds of years. I've no doubt that somebody at some point was called Willie, but we can't trace, or it's going to be certainly difficult to trace any specific person by that name.
I've been doing this for 4 years now, and even when I do theatre shows or radio, I've never had such powerful spirits. I think it's because they are locked in this time warp, and to some extent we have to take the responsibility for that, because I'm not sure if our energy is holding them there by us going down. And I'm not just saying us, I'm talking about anyone who goes down to the close and checks out what's going on. Maybe we are creating a lot of it ourselves.
But do you feel alright in yourself now?
No.
The guy that was
Caught
laughing.
energy from me.
Yeah.
He just stole it. He just took it all off me. Oh, I feel so sorry for him. I need to sit down for a minute, guys.
Cameraman.
I need to sit down for a minute.
You're alright.
Oh, I've got palpitations.
Right. Is it worth us going back in that room with the cameras?
We're going back in.
You are?
Yeah. Oh.
What's the matter?
He's here. I feel like a complete clown. I'm so... this is so powerful, Phil. I'm sorry. Do you know how sensitive I am?
And I know we're going to be doing our vigils quite soon. Getting a bit tired, so we'll see what lies ahead.
Welcome back to Most Haunted Extra. The crew were in high spirits as they continued the investigation.
I never get scared in the locations when there are people around. It's when the lights go out and it's just me on my own, which I try not to let happen too often.
The lights did go out and it was time to start our vigils, but nothing would prepare us for what would happen later.
Please try and make us a sign now by using our collective energy. Please either make a noise.
Right, I've just come back from an interesting vigil with who was there? Richard, Yvette, John, and Carl.
I'm frightened to death. I've done, I don't know how many Most Haunted, 33, 34, something like that. And we've just had the most positive experience ever.
We went into the, what's it called, the something house.
The Chesney House, and we held a séance.
As we were asking for a sign, what sounded like a stone seemed to land on the floor nearby.
Send it round, channel it round and round in a circle from right to left. Is there anybody there that wants to with us?
We've got a camera locked off down there, so if anything happened.
That was right next to me.
Twice while we were conducting the séance, a stone or something was thrown.
They were quite big. I'd say they were kind of like, it sounded like it was about that big.
And when I say thrown, I mean with violence, with force, thrown across the room.
We all jumped, me included.
It scared us shitless.
And it was so frightening.
And of all the programmes I've done, this, in my opinion, is the very first time that we have, I believe, made contact.
It was really horrible. And because it was so dark, I couldn't see anything, but you could hear it. And I was so scared. It was like you could hear this stone hitting a wall, but you didn't know which direction it was coming from.
It certainly felt like it was near me as well, which was a bit strange. And I can honestly say it was quite a little disturbing event, really.
That was really quite frightening. And as we were still standing there in the séance, I was willing it to end because all I wanted to do was just get out.
And I was thinking all the time, there's something with us in the room. We've done it. We've really, really made contact with something, with an entity. And I still believe it.
I don't know what it was. All I know is that I felt very frightened, and they weren't just stones or bits of rubble falling from the ceiling. It sounded heavy, and it sounded like somebody was throwing those stones. What it was, whether there are such things as ghosts, I don't know, but I was absolutely petrified.
What was it? Was it a ghost? Who knows? I so want to believe it was. You imagine this ghost sitting in his ghost world, drilling up the energy to do something for us, who can hear what we're saying and knows that we want a sign. He manages to get that energy going, and all he can manage to do is push a little stone that hits the ground.
I personally am absolutely elated by the whole thing.
I'm really chuffed now. There's definitely something spooky going on in one of the houses here, the Chesney House. Horrible.
Is there anybody here in this room with us? Is there?
We've got a camera over there. If anything's happening, we've got it.
That was big. Yeah. We're not frightened. We hope you're not frightened. We thank you so much for making contact with us.
I've probably just had one of the most weirdest experiences of my entire life.
Oh, I don't know, I've just done a vigil. Me, Carl, Tom, and Alex.
We went to Annie's room, which is this small room that has like a chest of toys that people are supposed to have donated for the spirit of Annie.
For the life of me, I just do not know what on earth has gone on down there.
I think we're all a bit kind of dumbfounded, really.
Freaky stuff happened.
Certainly, we are, I think, somewhere between confused and frightened, if there is such a state to be.
We walked in, and I think I caught on camera this bloody small little teddy bear being thrown.
And I just saw a small 3-inch teddy bear, about so big, fly through the air, right in front of my eyes, and land on the floor.
I actually felt it coming by my ear.
I can't explain this. It just seemed to fly across the room.
The way Tom described it, it came through the hole in the wall, so it had to have come through there, not through the door, because of the angle of it, how it came in and landed.
I only saw the teddy bear move in the first place, by the way, because I had my torch on so I could see where I was standing. It was absolutely pitch dark.
I know I didn't throw it because I'm not into that game of throwing things in the mix. That doesn't work with me. I don't do it. We're honest people. Tom didn't do it. I know for a fact Tom didn't do it. You know, because he's too square. Alex didn't do it. She's not like that, you know. I mean, she's just on board to help us out on this particular shoot. Carl certainly didn't do it.
We sat down and we were talking about trying to get saying to this girl, you know, please move the toy again if that was indeed you that moved it.
Every time we actually spoke to the girl, asked if she was there, the room went so cold, icy cold, and you could feel it on your back, on your legs, on your neck, your ears, you know, even your hands, and you're trying to hold the camera. You know, if I'd have spent any more time in there, you know, I kid you not, I'd have got frostbite. That's how cold it was getting in there.
I wanted to see that bear move again, and I think we all did.
Tom then mentioned, there's something in the middle of us. We were sitting in a circle by her toy box at the time.
And the only light in the room was coming off the LCD displays of the cameras, so it's very, very dim. I could just about make out this little stone on the floor. I said, tell me that's a stone.
And I put the camera on it, and it wasn't. It was the same toy.
And the teddy bear was sitting in the middle of this circle. I mean, incredible.
Which did kind of freak us out a little bit, because we have no explanation. None of us do.
How it got there, when it went there, I just don't know.
I know people out there will say that one of us moved it. I can't see how any of us could have moved it. I don't know what the trajectory was of the toy when it first happened. As I say, I wasn't in the room, but for that to have happened and to have landed, then to have found the toy again in pitch darkness, to have then moved it into the middle without any of the others seeing is impossible. Absolutely impossible.
After a while, we decided that we're running out of tape, so it was time to leave the room. We checked the teddy bear, and apparently the teddy bear had rotated through 180 degrees. Where its head was now where its feet were.
So something certainly is happening down there. It's a very strange place. None of us were actually frightened. That's the big thing. We weren't frightened.
So it's been an adventurous seance. I'm still trying to make my mind up on what's gone on, where people were sat and who were doing what at what time. So there's still a lot to think about. I'm going to go to bed shortly, and it's something that I'll be thinking about in bed.
I can't explain it.
I think although we don't all want to admit it, I think deep down we're 99.9% certain that we have witnessed something paranormal. And that is an amazing thing to witness. What a night we've had. Fantastic. I can't begin to tell you how great it's been. Definitely going to come back here because it's just a fantastic place. People are friendly and it's a fantastic place. But anyway, from most Altered Extra, good night.
Can you guess who it is yet?
A jolly good night. Nice one.
That would be nice, wouldn't it? Oh, yes.
And now that is what TV should be about.